Hey everybody, it's the Situational Therapist. I hope you're doing well. My roots are still terrible. So, today I want to talk to you about 5 things that toxic single parent mothers say. Because in the Black community, there are a lot of single parent mothers, and there are a lot of behaviors that go on that people just let slide because, oh, she's a single parent, she's doing the best she could. That's number 3. The point is, we need to look at some of these behaviors because I'm so tired of having my Black clients come into my office asking me what's wrong with them when they grew up in an environment where their mothers were beating the hell out of them and talking shit about their dads. But in any event, I'm getting ahead of myself. So these are 5 things that toxic single parent mothers say. Number 5, you were a bad child and that's why I had to beat you. This one frustrates me more than, and there's no such thing as a bad child. I had an argument with someone about this on Psychology Today. It was a psychologist saying that there's a such thing as bad children, that some children are just born predisposed to being bad, and it's just bullshit. It's absolute bullshit. Everything that's going on in this world, and you mean to tell me that a child is just born into it terribly? No, a child is born into this world expecting to experience love, nurture, and care. And we know for a fact that there are some parents who just don't want to be parents, and that's okay, but because we don't normalize that, we have parents out here, children out here raising kids because they're embarrassed to say that I made a mistake. I wish I wouldn't have done this, and now that it's here, it's just here. If you actually wanted a child, every bit of ADHD, even if they had Down syndrome, autistic, no matter what it might be, yes, it might be rough. It might absolutely be rough to deal with that and to mourn the loss of what you thought your relationship with your child was gonna be like. Absolutely, I don't have kids and I don't know what that feels like. At the same time though, if you're truly having a child for the express purpose of just giving love to another child, like there's so many parents that say things like, I wanna have kids so that I can have someone to take care of me when I'm older. That is the most worst reason in the world to have a child. You're bringing a child into this world to take care of your needs. Set up an IRA, get some financial literacy. It's not my job to make sure that you're okay whenever you are older. I was not brought into this, I don't think, brought into this world for the express purpose of taking care of you. Well, I took care of you when you were younger. I didn't ask to be born. That's the difference. So when I have clients come into my office telling me that my mom said I was a bad child or I had a smart mouth, no, you didn't. One time, my mom used to always complain about not having a husband. When she was beating the hell out of me because I had the audacity to get a B and my bedroom closet wasn't clean, she would often say, no man is ever gonna want me because you don't keep stuff clean. And one day, I remember this, my mom said it just one too many times, and I remember looking back at her and saying, unless it's the UPS guy, the postman, or someone from church, you are not gonna find a husband sitting in here on your ass all the time. Now, I don't think I said the word ass, but I may as well have because my mom beat the hell out of me. She told me I had a smart mouth and I needed to stay in a child's place. The problem is I didn't say shit that was wrong. If a therapist would have told her that, it would have been different. The reason I'm wrong for saying it is because I'm her son. That's why it was wrong, but the stuff that I was saying was true. There's no such thing as a bad child. We continue the cycle of abuse with the children that we raise, but the children are not the problem. Number 4, your dad was good for nothing. Single parent moms love to do this, especially in Black families. Oh my God, the amount of shit that my mom talked about my dad. Now, truth be told, he had his own issues, but y'all, I'm just saying, bruh, having grown up with her, I understand why he wasn't there. 100%. In fact, before he died, because my father died before I had an opportunity to get his full side of the story, because I grew up my entire life listening to my mom tell me how he was good for nothing, didn't want to do anything, didn't care about her, didn't care about us, wouldn't send no money, all of this crap. We went to eat one time and I asked him, why weren't you around? And he said, your mom said that I would have to do this, this, and this in order to have a relationship with you, and I wasn't willing to do. I believe him. I believe him so much because it just mirrors what happened to me in my childhood. So toxic moms, what they try to do is offload their bad behavior by blaming someone else. I grew up my entire life thinking, well, if only I had a dad, or this is happening because I don't have a dad, or my mom would say, well, at least I'm actually here. He's not even here. How you gonna be mad at me and he's not even in the picture? Turns out there's two sides to every freaking story. Number 3, I had a rough childhood. Oh my God, if I have to hear another story about a client coming in telling me that their parents made excuses for their behavior by saying that they had a rough we all had a rough childhood. At some point, you have to take responsibility for the stuff that you do. Absolutely. I know that I have done some less than awesome things in my life. Up until college, all throughout my life, there have been times where I have expressed myself in a way that was not pro-social, or I have done things that have caused inadvertent harm to others. I can't think of one time of me doing something on purpose to hurt someone. Have I lied to people? Absolutely. I will lie to protect your feelings all day. It's something that I'm trying to work on, but I just can't think of me doing anything on purpose to hurt someone else. And so when people use this excuse that they had a rough childhood, often it's after they've done something that there's no excuse for. I don't need to hear that you've had a rough childhood. I'm sorry, but there are access to resources and things that are there for you. And well, black folks don't go to therapy. Black people don't go to therapy because they beat their kids and they know that a therapist is gonna call that out. Black folks will tell you what is okay and not okay to talk about before you go to school, before a PTA meeting, before anything. So I don't wanna hear that crap. The issue is that no one wants to listen. You have a child, the bad child with a smart mouth, telling everybody that what you're doing is stupid. I think about all the times my mom talked about how she wanted to lose weight. Bruh, eat less food. Stop eating so damn much. Stop eating when you're full. That will solve that problem. But a toxic mother will never miss an opportunity to tell you about how bad her childhood was, and that's why they do what they do. It's a thing that toxic moms say because it offloads, again, the responsibility for the behaviors that you see in front of you. Number 4, I did the best that I could do. I get so tired. I'm tired of all of them, but this one pisses me off the most. You did the best you could, yes, and you could have done so much better. That's what's frustrating. I can't stand it when parents leave it at, I did the best I could. Yes, that is logically true. Logically speaking, you can only do what you can do. So yes, from a logical standpoint, you did the best you could. The thing is though, you shouldn't have wanted it to be your best. You should look back and say, man, I could have done this better. I could have done this better. You know what? After learning, I see how I could have done this better. And baby, if that upsets you, if that caused you issues, I want to work through that with you because you know what? I realized that I made mistakes and I just want to let you know that I'm aware of my mistakes. And yeah, I did do the best I could do, but man, I could have done better. And these are the ways that I could have done it. Toxic moms won't do that. They're just gonna stop and I did the best that I could, and then they're gonna point out examples of doing things that are just normal, that are just things that parents are supposed to do. The fact that you came up to the school whenever the teacher said that I was cussing and I didn't really do that, that's what you're supposed to do. You're a parent. The fact that you cooked breakfast on Saturdays in the morning, that's what you were supposed to do. You're a parent, right? Like, I don't understand why parents have this idea that you should get a participation trophy. Children are literally dependent upon you for everything. We can't do it without you. A child cannot take care of themselves without you. So why should you get a participation trophy? Did you know what you signed up for? Number 5, and this one is the most important because at some point in all of my therapy, my clients get to a place where they realize, okay, this was the kind of childhood I had. Not everyone, but some people. This is the childhood that I had. These are the behaviors that my mother engaged in, and this is how that affected me. And I do my very best to try to convince my clients, don't go talk to your parents about it. They're not gonna listen. Like, you are not gonna hear anything good from you coming with them with all this knowledge. There are some times that it does work out, but most times, if you are at the place where we're considering using the language toxic to describe your mother, especially when I have clients come in saying that their parents are narcissistic, if we're at that point, then it's not going to work. But what happens is, the thing that toxic mothers love to say anytime you point out anything that they may have done wrong, after all the sacrifices I made for you, You ungrateful after everything I did, after the long nights that I spent at night listening to you cry. Whenever you would scrape your knee, I would be there. After all the meals I cooked for you, how could you come to me and talk to me about what I did wrong? You're not a parent. You don't know. I can't. You're supposed to make sacrifices. I did not ask to be here. It's so hard to get my clients to realize that you did not ask to be born. Any sacrifices that your parents had to make is on them. They decided to do that. And if I were gonna be vulgar, you took that nut, not me. There were so many other things that you can do other than make sacrifices. But then you see how restricting access to abortion causes problems. You see how the restrictiveness when it comes to adoption and how it's gated off by finances, how it's gated off. All of those things come into play to why we have these issues. But I really just wanted to make this video, partly because I'm triggered because I just got through in group talking about it, and I made this for my clients. Y'all, I'm telling you, these are things that toxic mothers say. They don't want to take responsibility. And once you realize that your mother is toxic, you have to figure out how to set and maintain boundaries, because once you start making boundaries, they are going to start acting out against them. And so we'll talk more about it as we continue, because the next part is I want to talk about how the mental health system helps enable toxic parents, toxic single mothers specifically. Video game use disorder is, I've had so many parents come in talking about their child has video game use disorder. And what we're going to talk about later is video games are a way to escape. So what are they escaping from is what I'm curious about. Now, there are people that use video games in a way that are not pro-social. Absolutely, I have some clients that are addicted to video games, 100%, and that has more to do with like predatory practices, microtransaction, those sorts of things. But when families come in talking about my child has video game use disorder, first off, who bought the console? What happens is parents sometimes are buying a babysitter and not something for their kids to play. Secondly, anyway, you know what? That's for the next video. So until then, I hope that you have enjoyed 5 things that toxic mothers like to say. If you recognize any of these 5 things in what your mom says, please leave me a comment below. Like and subscribe if you like the things that I make. I'm about to start talking about a lot more stuff. I'm about to play more video games too.